When the war came, I can remember a small number of things, like, for instance, being taken by a maid with my sister and brother in the pram in about 1939, and we walked along the esplanade looking at a lovely sunny day, looking at the ships, and suddenly we saw that there was a ship sticking up out of the water. In fact, it had been torpedoed and sunk. As it was sinking, we saw it, and I can remember asking this maid what it was, and she said, oh, she didn't know, but of course we both knew what it was. Soon after that we were evacuated, and we evacuated ourselves to near King's Lynn in the country.
Most of my young growing up days was in the war, because I was only 2 when the First World War started, and living in London, we experienced bombing. Never forget the day the siren went. I used to sit on the front doorstep because my mum couldn't hear the air raid sirens going off when she was in the kitchen. That was my job, to listen and go and tell her. Very often she'd leave my brother Paul, who was at that time only less than a year old, in his pram in the front garden. But on this particular day she grabbed him and we all went in to our shelter, which was indoors, a Morrison shelter, and Doodlebug, the bomb, fell in the next street. I quite thought I was going to die, young as I was. And when the all clear went, we went out and had a look outside, and my brother's pram was completely full of shattered glass out of the front windows. What made my mum bring him in, I don't know. Otherwise I might not have had a baby. Well, I wouldn't have had a baby brother. But in the end we were evacuated down to Reigate in Surrey, where we spent almost a year.
We got back almost as soon as we could, although the one terrible thing I can remember was the Coventry raid. The Coventry, the enemy bombers came right over our house, and they made a sort of a thudding sound. It was most curious. Nobody that I've heard of has ever mimicked this sound, but it's because the engines of each bomber beat against each other. The actual sound beats against each other, and therefore it makes a very frightening sort of noise. And I can remember this. I can remember going hiding under the stairs and just listening to this. And then the all clear went, and then about a couple of hours later the siren went again, and we went into under the stairs again, and the bombers came back over our house again. Actually, I'll never forget that.